As the person in charge of the food establishment, whether an intermediate resource, a family-type resource, a residence for the elderly that accommodates 4 to 9 people, or a daycare service that accommodates 9 children or less, you are responsible for handling food. Please note that regardless of the type of establishment, restaurant, food processing, retail, etc., the same basic rules and good food handling practices apply. Food is not like other merchandise. You must take special precautions when handling food because it must not become contaminated and unfit for consumption. The risks are very real. Contamination by improper food preparation is the cause of many of the food poisoning cases reported every year in Quebec. These cases are almost always due to improper food preparation or conservation methods. Food is conducive to the development of bacteria and other microorganisms. Although some microorganisms are useful for making products such as cheese or yogurt, others cause foods to spoil, such as those that cause fruits and vegetables to go moldy. Other microorganisms are pathogens, which means they can make people sick or cause food poisoning. Because they are microscopic, they're not always visible to the naked eye. In addition, they do not necessarily change the food's flavor or smell. Most cases of food poisoning only last a few days, causing nausea, vomiting, stomach cramps, and diarrhea. But they can sometimes result in serious permanent consequences, and even death. No one wants to eat food that makes them sick. As someone who works with food, you have a certain responsibility. From the time you purchase food to the time you serve it, you have to ensure that the food is safe and poses no risk to consumers' health. You can do this by simply applying the following rules of hygiene and food safety. When purchasing food, make sure it is fresh and the right color. Check the labels to find out its preparation date, best before date, and ingredient list. When you return, quickly put the food in the refrigerator, freezer, or wherever you store dry goods. Remove any suspicious-looking foods from the refrigerator or pantry. Check your food's best before dates and set up a first-in, first-out rotation. When in doubt, throw it out. Before you let adults or children into your establishment, you have to think about hygiene and food safety in your work. You must maintain good personal hygiene every day. And if you don't feel well or have symptoms such as diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, or a fever, ask another food handler to fill in for you immediately. You should not wear any jewelry, lapel pins, watches, or visible piercings. Your nails must be short and clean. Do not wear nail polish or fake nails. Wear a clean hairnet or a cap that fully covers all your hair, as well as a beard cover if necessary. Whether you're handling food, food packaging materials, or equipment that comes into direct contact with food, you must wash your hands and forearms with hot water and liquid soap from a soap dispenser. We cannot stress the importance of hand washing enough. It takes at least 20 seconds to wash your hands properly. Remember to carefully wash every part of your hands, particularly your finger joints, nails, and between your fingers. Bacteria love to hide in these areas where they hope to be overlooked. You must wash your hands before you start working, after smoking, after using the washroom, after handling raw food, and every time there is a risk of food contamination. Here are the main steps of proper hand washing. Pull out a length of paper towel from the paper towel dispenser. Rinse your hands. Soap them. Lather them. Clean your fingernails. Rinse your hands. And then dry them with a disposable paper towel. Before disposing of the paper towel, use it to turn off the faucet. Cover any wounds with a waterproof bandage. If you have a wound on your hand, wear a disposable waterproof glove. Change your gloves and bandages after each operation and any time they may have become contaminated. Please note that you must wash your hands every time you put on or change gloves. If you do not have any wounds on your hands, you are not required to wear gloves when handling food. Proper hand washing is better than wearing gloves, which offer a false sense of cleanliness. Now, let's look at the practices to adopt in preparation areas, based on the task at hand. You handle food for your clientele every day. The most important thing is that all the food prepared and consumed is safe. When you first enter the kitchen or food preparation area, you must wear clean clothes and an apron used only for food preparation. You must not drink or eat when preparing food. In refrigeration, freezer, and food warming units, first check the temperature of the food using a reliable thermometer. Then, enter the indicated temperature in the log. It is your responsibility to take corrective measures if the temperature is not up to standard. Poke a STEM thermometer into food to check its internal temperature. It is important to calibrate the thermometer before taking temperature readings, to be sure you get an accurate reading. To calibrate, place the thermometer into an ice bath. The temperature indicated on the instrument should read exactly 0 degrees Celsius. Refrigerated foods should be kept at a temperature of between 0 degrees Celsius and 4 degrees Celsius. Frozen food should be kept at a temperature of minus 18 degrees Celsius or less, and warmed food should be kept at 60 degrees Celsius or higher. If the temperature does not meet these standards, take the necessary measures to correct the situation or call a repair technician. Complying with temperature standards is very important. Potentially hazardous foods must not be allowed to sit at temperatures of between 4 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius, the danger zone where microorganisms quickly multiply. Be sure to always keep food at the right temperature, from the time it is purchased to the time it is consumed, to maintain the cold chain and preserve food quality and safety. Avoid overloading refrigeration and freezer units at all times in order to maintain good air circulation and keep food temperature from rising. When preparing food, only take out the amounts you need, and only for the time you need to finish preparing it. If you take a break while preparing food, make sure you put the food away at the right temperature before stopping. To avoid touching food directly, tongs or utensils are better than gloves. Never thaw potentially hazardous foods at room temperature, because this unnecessarily exposes their outer surfaces to temperatures conducive to the spread of bacteria. When thawing this type of food, use one of the following methods instead. Place the food in the refrigerator. Put it in a conventional oven to combine thawing with cooking. Place it in the microwave to cook it immediately. Or put it in a container under cold running water, making sure it is completely submerged. It is important to avoid all contamination, specifically cross-contamination, which is the transfer of disease-causing microorganisms from one food, generally raw, to another that is cooked or ready to eat. To do so, use specific color-coded cutting boards for each type of food, or carefully clean and sanitize cutting boards after each use. When handling different kinds of food, always wash your hands after handling each food type, and do not dry your hands on your apron in order to prevent contaminating your hands and the products you will later work with. When storing food, protect it from all risks of contamination by wrapping or covering it correctly. Always put raw meats on separate shelves or place them below ready-to-eat foods. To ensure that people with allergies do not unknowingly consume allergens, food labels must list all allergens contained in the food. Pay close attention to the following allergens: peanuts, nuts, sesame seeds, dairy products, eggs, fish, crustaceans and shellfish, soy, wheat, and sulfites. To prevent all allergen contamination, be sure to handle allergen-free foods before handling those containing allergens, or clean your equipment after handling these products. When cooking food, consult the cooking table for the minimum internal temperatures required for each type of food. Follow the recommended temperatures. Consult the cooking table in the food handling guide and check the temperatures using a reliable STEM thermometer that has been cleaned and sanitized. Proper cooking temperatures eliminate disease-causing bacteria. Cool potentially hazardous foods as quickly as possible to a temperature between 0 degrees Celsius and 4 degrees Celsius. The food's internal temperature must be cooled from 60 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius in less than 6 hours. However, within this period, the food's internal temperature must drop from 60 degrees Celsius to 21 degrees Celsius in under 2 hours. To achieve this, you may place the food in containers in an ice bath and stir regularly. Divide the food into smaller portions before refrigerating. Cut up large pieces of meat. Use large, shallow containers made of materials that cool quickly. Potentially hazardous foods that have already been cooked and cooled must be reheated quickly. They must reach a temperature of 74 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds or 63 degrees Celsius for 3 minutes within fewer than 2 hours. Then, they must be kept warm at a minimum of 60 degrees Celsius. When reheating food in a microwave, rotate it to evenly distribute the heat. To safely reheat food in a microwave, make sure the food reaches a temperature of 74 degrees Celsius throughout. Vermin are another serious source of food contamination. If you notice the presence of insects or rodents, call an exterminator or take measures to prevent these intruders from infesting the premises. Make sure counters, tables, and work surfaces are regularly cleaned and sanitized. Empty and clean trash bins as needed and at the end of the day. Also, be particularly careful to keep the premises clean. Follow the trash collection schedule in order to keep trash from piling up outside. Cleaning and sanitizing are two distinct and inseparable steps. Cleaning consists of dislodging all food particles and dirt from surfaces that come into direct contact with food. To clean something properly, you must first protect any food near the cleaning area. Then, unplug electric equipment and disassemble if necessary. Pre-wash the surface by scraping or rinsing to remove the largest particles. Then, wash with an appropriate cleanser by submerging the object completely in hot water. Remember to scrub all surfaces in order to dislodge all residues. Rinse. Sanitizing allows you to reduce the number of microorganisms present on surfaces in contact with food to a safe level. To sanitize, follow the manufacturer's instructions regarding the right concentration of the sanitizing product to use, how to use it, the recommended water temperature, how long the chemical sanitizer can be in contact with the surface, and how to rinse. Let's sum up the steps of proper cleaning and sanitizing. First, protect any food or food packages in the cleaning area. Then, unplug and disassemble electric equipment and bring it to the sink if necessary. Pre-wash, wash with hot water and a cleaning product, rinse, sanitize, rinse again if necessary, and air dry or dry with a disposable paper towel or a clean dish towel used only for drying dishes if you need to reuse the equipment right away. Here are the main hygiene and food safety rules you must follow when handling food. Purchase good quality food. Maintain good personal hygiene. Wash your hands properly. Carefully check temperatures. Adopt good habits for freezing, cooking, cooling, and reheating foods. Avoid food contamination. Keep the work area clean. Know the steps and rules for cleaning and sanitizing. Hygiene and food safety must always be a top priority for food handlers. Food handlers must always keep in mind that their work can have a direct impact on consumers' health. As a result, they must adopt impeccable work habits.